Hey y'all, Teanna here. Today I decided to do a video about like breastfeeding tips or whatever. Just because I feel like it's very helpful. But I know this was the main, like I told y'all before, breastfeeding videos were the main videos I was looking for when I was pregnant and when I was breastfeeding, and it was so hard for me to find good breastfeeding videos with women that look like me. So I make it a point to give those to y'all as much as I can. By the way, if you like this shirt, my fiance makes them. I'll link his website down below if you're interested. He has other types on his website as well, so check it out. Anyways, so I didn't write anything down, so hopefully I remember everything I wanted to tell y'all about these tips. But for sure, number one is if you feel like you are having a problem in terms of breastfeeding, reach out to a lactation consultant or reach out to your doctor so they can get you in contact with the lactation consultant. I feel like that is the number one thing that I can tell y'all. Oh, my bad, I keep looking over. Andre's sitting over there, he's throwing me off. Anyway, that's the number one thing that I can tell y'all. I don't know if everybody's labor and delivery is the same or will be the same, but I know once I told my doctor I was breastfeeding, that was all I did after I had Julian in the hospital, was breastfeed. They didn't even offer me formula. And I remember, was it later that night after I had him or the next morning? Because I left the next day around like 6 p.m. But I can't remember what time it was, what day it was. If it was the 21st or the 22nd. But a lactation consultant at the hospital came and talked to me. Luckily for me, thankfully, Julian didn't have a problem latching or anything, so I didn't have to really get help with that. But she did come talk to me and like tell me to reach out if anything was wrong, blah blah blah, and to make sure that everything was good. So that's number one. If you're having any problem at all with breastfeeding or you're struggling with breastfeeding at any point in your breastfeeding journey, I do recommend reaching out to your doctor to get in touch with a lactation consultant, or if you have a lactation consultant already directly, reach out to them to get that fixed or helped with. Now, number two, I don't know how to put them number one. The next thing, and like I said, these are not in any particular order, I'm just counting, whatever. The next thing I for sure recommend is getting 2 breast pumps. I recommend getting a electric and a manual. And this is my manual breast pump was an even flow pump. I'll try to link it if I can find it. I don't have it anymore because it was plastic, so I didn't keep that. You can only use plastic but for so long, so I did not keep my manual pump. I tossed that out, but I do still have my electric pump, and it is the Medela, what is it called? It just says advanced personal double breast pump, but I feel like there's an actual name, but that's not it. But anyway, if mine is kind of dusty because I think the last time I used this was in April, but this is the breast pump that I have. I need to throw away these cords because they're no good. All of my attachments I've already thrown away except those. So it's just this and the adapter. But this is the pump that I was taking to work with me. I would recommend getting a manual one as well for backup, just in case for some reason you're at work and this doesn't work, you forget your attachments, anything can happen, just moving too fast in the morning. So I do recommend getting a manual one that you keep in your purse or whatever at all times, which is what I did with mine. I always make sure I have my manual one with me in case this one failed me for any particular reason. It never failed me, but you just want to be prepared. It's better to be prepared and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I think that would be next. Also with that, these things are they're chunky. They're heavy to lug around. Yes, they come with bags and whatnot, but they are uncomfortable to lug around, which is also why I recommend getting a manual pump, because they're compact, they're easy to put into a smaller bag, and you can just go about your day, as opposed to trying to accommodate something like this. Next, my nursing pads of choice. I know now they have Like reusable nursing pads are huge. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. I have nursing pads that I'm gonna show y'all, but I started using like cotton pads. Like if you notice, like sports bras, some sports bras have like little triangle liners in them. Like I had a bunch of those from sports bras that I could no longer fit after I had Julian. After I had Julian, my chest did grow a little bit, so I couldn't fit those anymore. So I threw the bras out, but I kept all of the little inserts. And I was using those, but I would still leak through those. And they're essentially the same thing as far as I'm concerned. So I still have a whole box of these. But these are my nursing pads of choice because they're not that expensive. Let's be honest. You're going to just use them and throw them out. I don't want to open them because these are still good. Like literally, this is basically almost a whole box of nursing pads. But they're really compact. Make sure you get two when you take some out the box. But the Target Up and Up brand disposable nursing pads were my absolute favorite through my whole pregnancy. These were pretty much the only ones that I was buying. Number one, they're cheap. Number two, they work amazing. So that was my tip. Side note tip about nursing pads. If you're ever in a situation where you forget your nursing pads, I do recommend you stay true to being a woman and keep pads, sanitary pads with you. I had that moment where I forgot my nursing pads when I was at work one day. And I'm like, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? And there were other girls on my floor who were nursing as well, but they were all the way like somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? So I did end up having to use panty liners. I happened to have some in my purse, even though I hadn't had a period and I didn't know how long at that point. I ended up having these panty liners and they work just the same, but I do recommend these. These are my absolute favorite nursing pads. Next is milk storage bag. This is just my pump bag. I have like a bunch of randoms that's still in here from when I was nursing. For example, I recommend a Ziploc bag. Let's start with that before we get to the storage bags. I need to throw this Ziploc bag in the trash because once again, it's just been sitting in here. So this Ziploc bag can go because it's old. Like it even has a little bit of milk residue on it. That's trash. But these are the milk storage bags that I was using. Not for any particular reason. I'll tell you why actually. Up and Up also has really Target's Up and Up brand, let me be specific, really has good nursing bags, milk storage bags as well, but I absolutely love these bags. I have a few left from when I was nursing. This is what they look like. But I do recommend getting bottles too. Pump your milk in bottles, not in these. It's hard to measure these. So if you're still at that point where you're measuring your child's milk, like you know your child is only drinking 4 ounces of milk, don't try to measure with these because these measurements are going to be completely off. But I do absolutely love these storage bags. These are my absolute favorite storage bag. And the reason that I love these storage bags so much is because they came with these. You got 2 of these in every box. And what these were for is you would attach these to your manual pump or to your, wait, is it just a manual pump? Let me think. No, your manual pump or your, electric pump, and you can pump directly into your bag with it. You just slide your bag over the base and you can pump directly into your bag. This does work. This attachment does also work on Up and Up bags because I've tried it before, but it only comes with Lansano bags. So I do recommend getting Lansano bags just to get these attachments for free inside of the box. I will say my first batch of Lansano bags that I had a problem where they were leaking when I thawed my milk after freezing them in these bags, but I feel like that might have been user error because I don't know, I was new at breastfeeding. Oh, and my bad, let me just say, if you have health insurance and you are worried about buying an electric pump, check with your health insurance provider. Usually you can get one for free. But back to what I was saying, I feel like it was user error. So I reached out to the company, Lansano, and I told them what was happening. They asked for like my serial number on my bags and things of that nature. what store I got them from, like things like that. They sent me a whole box of replacement bags for free, and I didn't have a problem with them anymore after that. So I do think I was using them wrong as a first time mom. This is my first time storing milk, so I think I was just didn't know what I was doing, and I ruined. You gonna keep coughing during my video. I think I just screwed up. So other than that, I do love these bags. All right, next we're gonna stick with my pumping bag. That's the next thing. I do suggest you get a bag. Don't try to be cute and stuff all of this stuff in your purse or whatever. I do recommend getting a bag designated for pumping, because you tend not to forget stuff that way, because it's stuff always in this bag. Okay, I have already done a what's in my pumping work bag video. If y'all want me to link that, I'll link it down below, whatever. But I do recommend getting a pumping bag. The only thing in here that I really want to show y'all, number one, is an ice bag. And with an ice bag, I do suggest ice packs as well. Mine are in the freezer. I still have the ice packs that I bought for pumping. But it has my name in it. And I would also put ice packs in it. Here's why. Number one, if I ever forgot my ice packs and I had to put my milk in the fridge at work, I didn't want my milk just on a shelf. So, because my name is on it, everybody knows it's my milk, and it can go in the nursing fridge without anybody thinking it was theirs. Because where I was working while I was pumping did have designated rooms on their floors for nursing moms, and it had a refrigerator in there separately from everybody else and everything. But other nursing moms were also using that refrigerator, let me say. So I preferred something like this so that my milk, there was no way you can confuse it. And the fact, I got this from like, where did I get this from? I want to say I got this from like Marshalls or TJ Maxx for like $5. And it's really ugly. But because it looks so unique and it's not the typical woman's lunch bag, basically, there's no way you can confuse my milk for your milk. So I do recommend getting some type of cooler. I know a lot of breast pumps come with their, did y'all see that? My bad. A lot of breast pumps come with cooler bags and ice packs, but I do recommend getting cooler bags, and I recommend getting ice packs. You can get like a 2-pack of ice packs from Target for like $1.99, $2.99. Those are the ones I have, and keep those with you at all times as well. Whenever you know you're going to be out long enough to have to pump, I recommend taking this with you and putting an ice pack in it, and it stays cold all day. Like, there were times I put that ice pack in here at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I forgot that my milk was in here until like 9 o'clock that night, and it would still be cold and my ice packs would still be frozen. So I do recommend that. My next recommendation or tip, whatever, whether you are for nursing in public or not, I do recommend getting a nursing cover. And not because you're uncomfortable and not to make anybody else happy, but just because sometimes people can be weird. Like me personally, in the comfort of my home, and if I was around family, like if I was at my mom's house or something, I would just nurse without my cover, because Julian hated being covered up. But if it was those times where I had to like nurse in the parking lot or nurse in a store or things of that nature, I always would prefer to have my cover with me, just for my own personal preference. And I do think it is a good investment. They're not expensive, but I'm saying I do recommend having them. Even if you never use them, I do recommend having them. And I think I've already linked mine in another video. It might be in my what's in my nursing bag video. I'll see if I can find it. I don't know. It was a baby shower gift from my sister. I think she got it from Walmart. But I do recommend getting some type of nursing cover, just because people are weird. And it's better to have it, once again, it's better to have it and never use it than to want one when people make you feel weird in public and you don't have one. So I recommend getting a nursing cover just to have for your own state of mind, whatever. All right, next thing I want to mention is clogged ducts and mastitis. I don't know why. I know why. I sucked at pumping. Let's be honest. Towards the end, I got lazy. In the beginning, I was pumping every couple of hours. I was on it. I was on it with cluster feedings. I was in the zone. Sometimes I had to supplement. Yes, in the end, you guys know I did have to supplement because my schedule just got to be too much for me to consistently pump every few hours. But I did my hardest to pump. I did my hardest. But I did get I got clogged ducts all the time. I got mastitis twice. And I remember in April, after I was done breastfeeding, I realized I was getting mastitis again. And I know it was mastitis because it was a really bad clog that I just could not clear. If you don't know what mastitis is, long story short, when you get clogged ducts, if you don't clear the clogged duct quick enough or soon enough, it builds up and it gets infected. That infection is mastitis. If you don't get the mastitis taken care of as soon as possible, if I'm not mistaken, you can get like an abscess on your boob and thing. It just goes bad. So I went to the doctor twice for mastitis. I was on medication twice for mastitis, once on both sides. And the third time I was like, okay, I'm not going back to the doctor. I got to figure something out. So, and I was already done nursing. And I was trying to pump. It wasn't working. I tried to get Julian to latch. By this point, he wasn't interested in latching. So he just laughed at me, really. So I bought these. Sunflower lecithin. I still have a whole thing of sunflower lecithin because I only use these for a week. Because I just used maybe a week and a half. I used them long enough to clear out the ducts and then long enough to like kind of loosen my milk up. And then that was it. So this is specifically made to loosen a clogged duct, and I use this for like a week and a half. I'd highly recommend if you are a nursing mom of any type, whether you're exclusively pumping, if you're a breastfeeding mom of any type, whether you supplement, whether you nurse exclusively, whether you pump feed, or whether you do a mixture of all of them, I do recommend getting this. And the reason I say that is because it's better safe than sorry. And this was a lifesaver for me because I'm almost positive that third time I almost had mastitis again. And I was not going back to the doctor. I was not taking any more no more pills. I mean, these are huge, but I'll show y'all what they look like. I don't want to touch it. I'm going to put it right back. But they are huge. But they did work wonders. They don't really have a taste. On the front of it, it does say may loosen existing fatty clogs and improve milk flow, a rich source of fatty acids, and what's that word? Choline? Is that right? I hope so. Anyways, it really did work. And I recommend this for anybody who is doing any form of breastfeeding, period. I will say, because I was pretty much at the end of my journey, like I wasn't producing that much milk by the time I had that last clog. I really wasn't, because Julian wasn't interested in nursing anymore. So I wasn't producing that much milk, but I will say I do think that this helped with decreasing my milk production because I wasn't nursing and I wasn't pumping. And it says here that it loosens up the flow and it makes your boob, the milk flow more. I feel like for me it did the complete opposite. It flushed out the clog, yes, but it also, I feel like, helped with me with my milk flow decreasing. Now, was I still having like milk production like 3 months later a little bit? Yes. Like if I squoze in June, this past June, I was still getting milk out. So I don't know what's up with that. But I did really like this stuff. So I do recommend everybody trying this at least once if you're nursing. And I think I'm going to keep this batch because it doesn't expire until 2023. But I also have a cut. Well, no. She's going to buy her own, she told me. Anyways. So, what else do I want to tell y'all about that? About breastfeeding. Your schedule. We're going to finish this with your schedule. The last tip. Yeah, this is for sure the last tip. Nope, 2 more tips. Your diet. It's really important how the way you're eating is really important to breastfeeding. And I did learn that a lot because there were some days where I just wanted to pig out and eat a bunch of junk, And on those days, my milk was not that great. So, key number one, you have to drink lots and 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 lots of water. That's number one. Number two, can you hear me? Number two, I do suggest eating oatmeal. Like, I ate plain oatmeal for a while to help with my milk. You can also make like oatmeal cookies. They do sell like special mom's milk type stuff in the store, but you can buy your own oats and make your own oatmeal. You don't have to buy the expensive processed stuff. So I was eating plain oatmeal with, sometimes I would use water, sometimes I would use milk. It depended on my mood, and honey. So I think that really, really helped. And then finally, your schedule. When I first started breastfeeding, if you guys know, if you follow my breastfeeding journey videos, you know I am the first person that I know in my immediate family to breastfeed. So I didn't really have people to talk to about that. But so I didn't know how strict my schedule needed to be. So in the beginning, I did have a lot of moments where I leaked all over myself. When I was like recovering from having my baby and I was just at home like maternity leave, I used to leak everywhere because I don't know why I didn't make the connection. Like, girl, just because he's asleep, go pump. Like, I don't know why I didn't make that connection, but I should have made that connection because I should have been pumping while he was asleep. And then once those, what is it, 2 weeks, 6 weeks? Is it 6 weeks or 2 weeks? Once those first few weeks pass and your body regulates itself to how much your baby is nursing, you're gonna wish you pumped even when that baby was asleep. Because that's what happened to me. My milk did dip off after Julian was either 2 weeks old or 6 weeks old. I want to say it's 6 weeks. However old it was, my body regulated itself, and my milk supply did decrease a little bit. But what I did to constantly maintain it is I was like, okay, Teanna, we need to get a pumping schedule. So I started pumping every 2 hours consistently. Even after I nursed Julian, I would pump. And I made sure, even though I know a lot of stuff I read, for example, would say after your baby's a certain amount of months old, you need to get rid of your nighttime pumps and limit them to 1. I did not do that because that's when I was producing the most milk. So this was what my pumping schedule looked like. We're going to start with morning. I would wake up every morning around 5, 6 a.m., somewhere up in there. Julian was usually up. No, I'm lying. Let me rephrase. I would wake up at like 5, 6 a.m. Julian will already be up with his dad, drinking milk that was already in the fridge. And I'll tell you how that milk got in the fridge. 5 or 6 a.m., I would be up. I would pump. Okay? If Julian was not up with his dad, I would nurse and then pump. Then, Julian, you know, in the beginning, baby's always asleep, so he would go back down and go to sleep. Then, around like 7 or 8, I would nurse and pump again. So even if in the beginning you're not producing that much milk, your baby's stomach is only that big. So I was only pumping maybe 2 ounces of milk. But when you add it to the 2 ounces I got that morning, I now have 4 ounces of milk in the fridge. So after 8, at like 10, 11, depending on what time it was, I would, around lunchtime basically, well, let's say 11. We're gonna stick with 11. Around 11 a.m., I would nurse and pump again. Even if it was Julian on one boob and me pumping on the other side. Oh, that's the other tip I need to tell y'all. Y'all need to get a haka of some sort. But I didn't use a haka while I was nursing. I don't know why I missed that craze. But I think they're very helpful when I watch videos about them. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So around 11 a.m., I would pump and nurse again. 1, same thing. 3, same thing. 5, same thing. Unless Julian slept through more hours, then I would just pump. But I was nursing and then pumping right after for each feeding. We're gonna leave off at 5, 7, same thing. 9, same thing. 11 p.m. is when Julian would like 10:30, 11 p.m. is when Julian would finally go to sleep. Once 11 p.m. hit, I would pump, and I would get a good amount of milk. But because that was pretty much my last pump of the night, it wasn't that great. I mean, my last pump of the day, it wasn't that great, but it was still a good 4 ounces on its own. So now we got like what, 8 ounces at least in the fridge if I'm not tired. Because sometimes if I was tired, Julian's dad would just give him some of the milk that I already had stored in the fridge. That's what it's for. When you're on maternity leave, all your milk that you're pumping does not have to be your stockpile for the freezer. It's okay to give your baby some of that milk. So I would wake up at 2 a.m. Now in the beginning, Julian would also wake up at 2 a.m. So I would be forced to nurse him on one side and pump on the other side, because that's not producing the most milk. And then when he would finish nursing, I would keep pumping on that side that he was eating off of. So then I would do the same thing that morning at 5 or 6 o'clock again. Here's the trick though. I never got rid of that 2 a.m. pump. I never got rid of that 2 a.m. pump at all. Julian was 8 months. I was still getting up at 2 a.m. to pump, because that's, no lie, at 2 a.m. I used to get about 13 ounces of milk, because your body's at rest. Your insides are doing what they need to do. That's when you're producing the most milk. So I was getting like 13, 14 ounces of milk at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I made it a point to never miss that 2 a.m. pump. Even when stuff I was reading and seeing was saying 2 a.m. pumps, you can do away with them when your baby's 7 months, 6 months, whatever. I never got rid of my 2 a.m. pump. I kept that 2 a.m. session as long as I could keep it. Tired, whatever. I kept that 2 a.m. session as long as I can keep it. And I feel like it really did help in the end, because if you think about it, once Julian hit a certain age, that 14 ounces of milk is 2 bottles in 1 pump session. So if you're counting right, maybe 3. If you're only giving your kid 5 ounces of milk, that's 3, about 3 bottles in 1 pump session. So I just kept it. So I do think that it's important to get on the pumping schedule. Once I started working, it did change. I was still keeping, once I started working again, it was 5 a.m. In the beginning, I was doing 5 a.m., 11, 1, 6 p.m., 10 p.m., 10 or 11 p.m., and then 2 a.m. Like I said, I was never getting rid of that 2 a.m. pump session. And then once I got to the end of my pumping and breastfeeding journey, I was doing 5, 1, 6, 10, 2. I was still keeping that 2 a.m. pump session. I think the most amount of milk I had in the freezer at a time was like 65 frozen bags of milk, which is pretty good. I was pretty proud of myself. So I think that's pretty much it. Those are all of the tips I can think of. Just in closing, if any point you are having a hard time pumping or you're having a hard time breastfeeding, I do recommend reaching out to your doctor. Don't just automatically put your baby on formula. Originally that's what I did. I did start supplementing early, and I gave Julian like 2 bottles of formula, and I told my doctor about it, and he was like, are you having a hard time, blah blah blah. And then he told me some stuff I can do, but it wasn't like anything. It's all the stuff that I just told y'all. Get on a better pumping schedule, try to pump more, like stuff like that. So it's all the stuff that I've already told y'all. But one thing I will say is, at one point in my pregnancy, before I started eating, one point in my breastfeeding journey, before I started eating like oatmeal and stuff, I did reach out to my doctor again, because I noticed that my milk had dropped. And even at that point, he was saying to me, like, do you need us to get in contact with a lactation consultant? Luckily, I did figure out that oatmeal and stuff shot my supply back up, and I started pumping. I started to like power pump. If you don't know what power pumping is, that's like staggering your pump sessions so that they're more vigorous. Basically, you pump for short sessions and then long, short, long, short, long, short, long, to get more milk coming. So I was able to correct it. So I still didn't end up having to see a lactation consultant. And then, you know, I'm going to add one more step, because I know a lot of people like to say, don't hold your baby too much, you're going to spoil your baby, don't hold your baby, you're going to baby your baby, whatever the case may be. But if you are breastfeeding your baby in any form of that, supplementing, nursing, exclusively pumping, a combination of them all, whatever you're doing, it's important to hold your child. It's important to have videos of your child crying, laughing, talking, whatever on your phone, so that you can listen to that while you're pumping away from them, and then like send signals to your boob to get the milk out. It's important to hold your baby close to your chest, because that's how your boobs know that it's time to make milk. Don't listen to people who tell you if you hold your baby too much, you're gonna spoil your baby if you're nursing. Please don't listen to that. They don't know what they're talking about. It's important for your baby to be close to your chest if you're nursing, or if you're breastfeeding in any form of the word. So that is it. Like I said, if you guys are interested in this shirt, and he does have a few more on his website with different styles, I will link his website down below. So check it out if you want. Or if you want any writing services done within the scope of the writing services that my fiance provides, his website will be in the description. Other than that, let me know if you like this. Let me know what you all think about this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and that is all. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one.